Okay, I'll sometimes throw a little hooker's green into the dark just to keep it from being too consistent. Now you could get stuck on this complete layout, and you really can get stuck on that. All right, you end up just working it and working it, and you're just darkening and putting paint down, but the layout itself doesn't really change that much. What you want to do is to be able to use some changes. So I'm going to raise that hill over there a little bit, again to create tension and force those trees to lean in. I'm going to come back over here and do something a little similar there, all right, to get a little pushing the eye inward a bit. And when I start working this water, I'm going to change where the water is flowing quite a bit. Now some of this down here, these shapes aren't real good, so I don't want that water to be so thick and strong. Okay, so that takes care of that. And notice now the echo is between small and large. Okay, now we're going to come back in here and we're going to add some of this some sunlight colors for that sunset. I want to push these rocks back up in there. Okay, now a little bit of that green and yellow ochre. Notice these trees are going to shade this area. A bit over here from that sunset. All right, now I want light showing through those trees, so I'm now going to go back and I'm going to take some of that nice blue-green sky, and I'm not going to try to make it small. I'm going to put areas in here that I'm going to use. All right, now we're going to take a small brush, one about that size, and I'm going to go with my dark green into this, and I'm going to, again, cut some of these lights . And notice now I'm giving some evidence of tree limbs back in there. I'll move this out of the way. And as I get some of this going, I may change the amount of tree foliage that is up in this area. Now I want to hit some nice darks. I'll use the green and the ultramarine. Again, this is just the way I work. This has nothing to do with the way anybody else works, or the right way or the wrong way. It has nothing to do with that. It's something that I've found that serves me really well and lets me really enjoy the painting process, while at the same time getting pieces done fairly quickly. I really like the kind of golden coppery colors that are around the trees up in there. And now a little bit of shadow back in there. And I'm going to put a little bit of that over here too. Now the paint is beginning to dry a bit, but it is still wetter and acting like oil. All right, let's go into the water a bit and let's work on it. All right. You notice the action lines remain pretty much the same, even though I'm adding more motion to the water, more areas for it to move. All right, right now we need a little more gravity. So I'm going to actually come in and have some water fall a little more abruptly. And don't fall in love with what you're doing. You sometimes need to come in and you need to change it and destroy it to make your painting work. We need more water and we need more falling for the water. More splashing around. Notice I'm still using blues in this because that's going to be the cooler part. So we're going to put some areas here where the water actually comes and falls over the tops of the rocks. Notice I could fall in love with those nice dark shapes I put in, but I have to destroy them to make this painting work. And they actually add a really nice kind of grayish tone to the water as it falls and tumbles. Okay. Now, an interesting thing about water going over rocks, it goes over the top of it, but the water actually is transparent, so the rocks show through. And that's what's going to start happening right in this area here, where this water is actually flowing over the tops of the rocks, but the shapes of the rocks underneath are showing through. And it happens in a kind of V shape. Okay? So you see these V shapes with the dark here and the medium down there. Now, again, don't fall in love. You may see an area you don't like the way it's working. I don't like how this is working here, so I'm going to work with it a little bit more. This is what I mean when I say that the painting, in a way, has to begin to do itself. It has to begin to paint itself. You have to pay attention to what's happening, and you have to be willing to make changes in your plan. In order to get something to start to turn out really nice. All right, I'm breaking up some of these edges here because I don't want things to be too hard except right down in the foreground. All right, now I want to go back and look about maybe defining some of the rocks that the water is going over a little bit more. There we go. Now notice I've got a nice dark pattern going on here and over here. I don't like this so much, so I'm going to kill that a bit. All right, so that I don't get too much drawing the eye off. So it goes up here and goes around over there and back in there and over this way as well, okay? Notice the composition is working in this third, that tree. And down in here is where the action is really going to exist. It's going to come from up in there, but I don't want everything right in the center. And I have to watch out about that sometimes. It's very easy. It's a natural tendency, all right, for the human eye to want to center things. That's why we take snapshots that way. That's why we line everybody up and we get them in an order of their height, all right? It's because our brains really like symmetry, but nature is not so forgiving that it likes it, and it doesn't like it so much. So I'm going to bring this down a bit. over here.